In this lesson, I will show you how to create text using Type tool. To select Type tool, you can press T on your keyboard or you can left click on the Type tool over here. And there are two methods to create text using Type tool. The first method is to left click to create a single line of text. With this single line of text, you can move it around using the black arrow key. You can scale it or you can rotate it. To change the font, you can type in the name of the font over here, or you can select from the list here. And this is the font style tab. You can change the weight and thickness of the font. And the third panel here is where you set the size of the font. And take note, whenever you scale the text, it will change the font size over here as well. Now the second method to create text is to select the Type tool again, hold down left click and drag a box like this to create a text box. Okay, right now the font is very big, so let's change the font size to, let's say, 12, and I'll change the font style to regular, and then I'll delete this and I will recreate again by holding down left click and drag to create a text box. All these words are called a placeholder text. These are in Latin, the lorem ipsum, and usually it is used as a placeholder to visualize the design. For example, for web designer, in a web design, when we are creating a layout, we want to test out whether it looks nice with text or not. We want to set the alignment and arrangement and all that. All right. Okay, now the text tool. Now with this type box, it is different from the single text type. If you left click and try to scale this box, it will not change the font size. It will only change the size of the container where the text can fit in. And if you zoom in closely, you can see that there is this red color indicator. This means that in this container, there are more text that cannot be shown completely. So make sure you increase the container size so that you can fit everything within the box. Now let's bring up the character panel and also the paragraph panel so that we can do further settings and adjustment to our text. Go to Window menu, and all the panels that are related to text can be found under the Type group. So bring out the character and the paragraph panel. The first few tabs here, these are the same settings that you can find on top of the control bar. The font style or weight, the font size, and over here we have the leading. So leading is basically the spacing between each line or each sentence. So if you want to reset it back to default, just press the drop down menu and select back auto. And the third one here is called the kerning. To demonstrate kerning, I have an image here to show you the function of the kerning. Sometimes depends on the font design. When we have an arrangement, for example, this A and V, it looks as if the gap is very big compared to this W and A. And to fix the visual gap, so that all the fonts can look equally spaced, we can apply kerning, where it will automatically fix those fonts with this kind of spacing problem. Now let's continue with the next one, which is the tracking. With tracking, we can adjust the spacing between each alphabet. And if you notice right now, when I adjust the tracking, it will expand to the right side. So if you select the paragraph and align center over here, it will expand from the center. If you don't see all these settings here, make sure you go to the option and press Show Option to reveal more of these settings. So the next part here is the vertical and horizontal scale. This is where you can scale the text like this, but be very careful. Don't use these settings here to change your font size, because you can simply use the font size settings here to change it. So only use this for very specific work where you want to change the look of the font. And the next one, we can highlight our text using the Type tool and shift the baseline to move our alphabet up or down. And we can also change the rotation using the character rotation settings here. And moving on to the next row, in case you need to capitalize your text very quickly, you can use this to capitalize every characters. Or you can use this version to capitalize everything and make the original capital letter bigger. And if you are working on maths equation, so let's say example x squared, I can select this number 2 and then push the number up like this and make it smaller. Or if you are working on chemistry equation, you can easily push the number down. Next, you can easily underline any sentence or any text by using the underline function here, or you can cross out some of the text using the strike through function. Next, we will look at the paragraph panel. So with the paragraph panel, we can easily align our text to left, center, or right. And over here, we have something called justified. With justified, we can align our text to both left and right side. With the exception of the bottom, we can select whether we want to align the last line to the left, center, or right. Or we can justify everything, but sometimes it will look very weird when you have little words. And at the bottom part here, we have the indent setting. So with the indent setting, we can shift the position of our sentence. For example, when we want to start an essay or an article, we want to create a space over here. We can easily do that by pressing spacebar or press tab on your keyboard. But the downside with using the tab key is that we cannot set the spacing that we want. So for this, we can use the indent setting where we can set how much we want to push, so how much we want the indent to be. We have this setting here where we can change the distance between each paragraph. So whenever you press enter, you have typed out something and you press enter, it will create a space. So that space, you can change it over here. And the last function that I want to cover is the hyphenate function. Some of the words, when the spelling is very long, they will have a hyphen here to continue the word at the next line. So if you want to avoid all the hyphenate, just untick hyphenate and it will fix everything instantly. Now let's explore the rest of the type tools. If you hold down left click on the type tool, it will show up all the different types of type tools that you can use to create text. So left click on this bar here to bring this box out. So the first one that we're going to look at is the area type tool. The function of area type tool allows us to create text within a shape. Type on path tool allows us to create text along a path. So for example, in this circle path, if I left click over here, it will create the text along this circle path. And right now, this text is aligned on top of this path. To change the alignment of the path arrangement, you can double click on type on path tool and change the different alignment. Make sure you turn on preview so that you can check on the position of the alignment like this. And even when you have a path like this, you can select the type on path tool and left click on the path. If you left click on this point, it will start the text on the point that you have selected. So if you want to start over here, then left click on this point. And the next one will be vertical type tool. And with this tool, you can create your text vertically instead of the usual horizontal direction. And we can type vertical text for area type tool and type on path as well. So over here, we have vertical area type tool, which does the similar thing, and also vertical type on path. And the last tool is touch type. With this tool, you can easily left click on any character and hold down left click to shift its position. You can scale it and you can rotate it.